Live streaming is on.
Hello, Global Village. No, that's Global Theater, right? That's May 21, 2021. Want to thank Clint Ignatoff for helping us as always, and he'll be back. And we want to thank Cody Clute for introducing me to Menno Kalmann. Menno, what a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you. What an honor to be here in this famous show. And I was just before we started. I was wondering, did we ever meet? Because I was as a small helper of Co. I was several times at Frank Zappa's house, and Co did some interviews, and I was there just with an excuse being the engineer or so. So I was press the record and stop button on the cassette player. But you were there as well. Did we meet then, or do you?
Well, I don't recall it because I don't really recall meeting Co back then. But it could have happened. You know, it was many years ago, and my memory could be failing me. But it's sure good to meet here because it feels like we're in person. I insist that the Zooms are more present than if we're in direct experience standing in front of each other. But let's carry on. Menno, the first question is, what is the best thing for a human being?
Oh dear. Well, it depends on first of all, it depends on the perception. So who you're asking this. If you ask this my wife, she will probably say waterproof mascara. But I think that we should, if you are let's say doing polite, you will have to say that the most important thing for human being will be love, because I think that all the things driving us are because of love. Are it's a little banal to put it, but I think that's the answer. I see it with everything around me, that this is why we do things. And but on the other hand, now you're asking, I think that actually the most important thing for a human being is only you, because you're the only one. You're the only one who is present. The rest is, you are the center of the universe. So am I. I am the center of the universe. You're the only one who can think from. You have your consciousness, so you experience the world from yourself, and the rest is just perception. So the most important thing is you, is yourself.
Yeah. Really good. And you touched on a lot of subjects we'll get into deeper. Why do you think humans collect or gather information?
To learn. I think the definition of intelligence is the ability to learn.
Do you think this need or want to collect information is more hardwired or more innate in humans, or more invented? And a lot of, at the beginning, some of my questions are either or, and of course it depends, and it's both, but it's sort of more like what's your hunch, it leans towards more. Is collecting information innate in humans, or did we invent doing that?
It's innate in human beings. It's part of our surviving program. It's like the economy. People always ask, why the hell do the economy always have to grow? Why aren't we happy with what we have? And that is the same with knowledge. We see that the whole knowledge is getting up, is getting more, and you have to keep up with that, and otherwise you're doomed.
Yeah. No, that's good. Do thoughts create emotions?
Sorry, do?
Do thoughts, does thinking create emotions?
Um, I think that thoughts create. No, 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 no,
Good.
no, no.
That was
I think no. I think that I know that emotions are almost chemical.
yeah.
I are you married?
Yes.
Well, then that's your answer. Emotions are chemical. You will see it at
So,
any wife,
right.
any lady, or am I saying something terrible now? No,
Yeah.
and you can no, but also you can see it when you're, let's say, with alcohol, with drugs. You see that emotions it is just chemistry.
Yeah. Do you more pursue happiness or more pursue meaning?
Um, I think I think. No, I'm sure happiness. And that, no,
Wow.
no, sorry, no, no, meaning, and that brings happiness.
Yeah.
If you do something meaningful, then you can sit
Yeah.
back, have a cup of coffee, and be happy, and
Yeah.
not the other way around.
Yeah. Does the brain more detect consciousness or create consciousness? So is consciousness there bubbling away and we're detecting it, or are we actually creating it?
No, we are creating it. Yes, it is. But yeah, okay, but define creating. We are. This is what we. Our our brain is a machine that is, yeah, that is creating it. That's that's what I think. So I also
Yeah.
think that if you're dead, it's gone.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Can you forget to die?
uh, I don't think so. I um but it's a difficult question because um we spoke about perception before, and I think that that um that for instance, the same question could be, could you forget to be born? Because th- there is something before you're born and there is something after you die. And by the way, you will you, yourself, you will never be dead. There will never be a moment that you say, hey guys, I'm dead. That is something for the environment, for your friends and family, but not for you, because there will never be a moment that you say, yesterday I was alive, now I'm dead. So that, it is nothing. It is, there is, it's not something, it is nothing, like before you were born.
It's a really good observation. And you brought up, I'm always trying to reword my questions, rethink them. And you really helped me because you said, well, it depends on what you mean by create. And then you said, well, you can switch that. Can you forget to be born? Thank you. Menno, what's faster, speed of light or speed of thought?
um, Speed of light. I think that yeah, speed of light. That is, um, our brain is a very, very good computer, but it's still a computer, and I think
Yeah.
there's nothing faster than speed of light.
Okay. You can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. That's Audre Lorde, the poet. Another poet responded to her, Yvonne Rainer. She said, You can if you expose the tools. What new tool do you suggest?
A new tool for what? Sorry, I didn't understand. To do what? To dismantle.
The master's house. Audre Lorde said you can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. And Yvonne said you can if you expose the tools. So my question's general, what new tool do you suggest?
I don't know. It's I'm afraid I don't understand the question. I think no, I don't really understand the question.
Right.
What is the master's house? Or is that just...
no, that's good. So we could just put that aside. We'll get more into that because basically what we're talking about is anything humans invent, spoken word, printed word. And there's one aspect. It's sort of like Zappa's question, who are the brain police? We don't know who he meant. The evil capitalist consumer society or the brain police or the brain inside your head. But we do invent things like spoken word, printed word, electronic word. We invent musical instruments. We invent Zooms, cell phones. And Marshall McLuhan learned from a poet that artists are the antenna of the race, and they're broadcasting the hidden psychic effects of our tools. Yeah. So we don't know really how our tools shape us, but we want to believe they're doing things that are good for us, and that we invent our tools like a car to do something like get us from point A to point B faster. But then people turn around and use cars to kill other people, like car bombs. Yeah. So we don't know. This is talking about the unintended consequences of our tools. So McLuhan said, well, from studying Ezra Pound, the poet, we can look to the artist, to the musicians, to uncover these hidden psychic effects so that we can learn to cope with what we don't like about them. Like some people go, oh, I hate my cell phone, but I have to use it, or whatever. So why do humans still ignore the hidden psychic effects, even though the artists are broadcasting them to us?
Yes, why? No, I agree that. I agree that completely. And I about these tools, I think that there is a tool, but I cannot name it. I don't know what it is, but I think that we have something like memory. You can go back to an event that you try to memorize, that to remember it. That is a tool too, and I think there is almost the same tool is what I use in creative processes. So I want to do something, I want to write something or make a piece of music, and then I try to remember the words I want to write down as if they are somewhere like a memory. But this is not a memory, so they're not there, but they're maybe there. But still I can use the same tool to get them. And I practice that and it works. So I think, and that's maybe not your question, but that means that also creativity is something that you can learn, that you can train. Yeah. And this is what I found out.
No, that was a perfect lead-in to the creative process. Yeah. One more question in that regard is, are you more afraid of old ideas or more afraid of new ideas?
I'm more afraid of old ideas. I am. Yeah. Yes. Well, it's a negative way of putting things. I'm very I am extremely curious. So I think you also are, because otherwise you wouldn't ask all these crazy questions to all these crazy people. but
That's right. I'm just trying to make my way through the woods like you, and we're like, why not ask other people? They might know. So, you brought up a lot of the main themes. Can you conjure up your earliest memory ever, or one of them?
yes, I know exactly. I remember exactly, and that was very for me very strange and quite frightening, but also anyway. I was in a little what do you call where you put a little baby in the car, the
Baby buggy.
the baby buggy. I was in a baby buggy. No, it was wrong. No. I was almost two, and I had a little bicycle with steering wheel and these pedals with on the front wheel little pedals. And my mother, she was beside me, and there was a little water, a little pond, but it was when I see it now, it's really nothing. It's a bathtube of water. But I was thinking, because I was a very clever and a very technical guy, I was thinking if I go this way, I don't have to do this with my wheels, with my feet. I don't have to rotate the wheel. It goes by itself. So I went down, and I went into the water, and I was completely under the water, and I was looking around, and I saw, and I really thought this is a problem. And in my imagination, it took 2 hours, but of course it was less than 3 seconds. And then my mother came and whoop, she pulled me out of the water. But I was 1.5 or so. I was not even 2 years ago, and I remember everything of that.
Yeah.
And that is amazing.
Yes, that's really well described too. Do you think memory is more a curse or more a blessing?
For me, yeah, well, that is, you have to add for me. So for who? For me, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
And for my aunt who came back from the war, it was a nightmare, a memory.
Yeah.
My old aunt, she had things that she had experienced in the war. So no, for me it's a blessing. I have quite a good memory. My very good friend Co, he has an extreme good memory. I know Co already from high school, so 40 years, and we have done so incredibly much crazy and interesting but funny things. I remember that we were on tour together. We had a first we had a band, later we had a duo, but we were touring in Europe. And I remember when we came back from touring, we had pain in our stomach for a week, and it was because of the laughter that we had during the trip. But now we are like old people, like old men. When we were young, we are telling each other anecdotes. You remember what happened there? You remember, and that is so. Now I experienced more nice and encouraging things than bad things. We are the blessed generation. We didn't have any war. We have this crazy Corona thing now, but we didn't have any war. We have enough to eat. We have a roof over our head, a bed to sleep in, and we are really spoiled generation.
Yep, we are a spoiled generation. I agree. That was well put. And Menno, tell me one early role model within your immediate family, someone who had an impact on you, and just briefly, what specifically was that impact?
That is my father. My father was he was typical guy coming from the war, never spoke about it, and I had a very difficult relation with him. We didn't have a real contact. My mother was my mother. I was close, and she was really the mother, and I was her beloved son. But my father, he was like a kind stranger. When, for instance, once I it was my birthday, and my father came in. I was in the room, in the living room. My father came in and he said, "Congratulations," and I said, "Thank you," and then he said, "You're welcome," and then he left the room. So I mean, that was the type of relation with. But my father, he was actually he was an artist, a poet, and he stupidly after the war there was a panic. It was in the 50s, and you had to work, and he had to, let's say, to maintain his family. So he worked and he worked his whole life, and then he died. But he was actually a fantastic poet. And no, but the funny thing, his influence, I respected him very much, and I know that he respected me, and but he never ever told me anything. You know, I was writing books, and I was making concerts, and I was on stage, and I was on the television, and he never ever said a word about it. And then I heard from my mother that my father said, "Don't switch the television because Menno will be on." So, you know, and but he is, yeah. Well, then he died, and
Oh, what do
then
you think, Menno? What do you think you got from him mainly? That was a beautiful description of sort of the push and pull relationship. But what did you get from him to be creative, or what do you think he inspired you?
my father was very, you know, the most horrible thing in marketing and in business is now out of the box. You have to think out of the box. But he invented that, let's say, 70 years ago. So when there was a problem, he had a factory, and I was there very often. And when there was a problem, he would throw everything around to come up with an idea that nobody ever would think of. Or he would even say, "Guys, you have a problem, but why in the first place do we want to solve the problem?" Or, you know, he was really what you call now out of the box thinking. And that is a thing of creative thinking. So what is for me very sad is that he never did anything with his creative capacities. He was just trying to make money, and he just arrived, and we had a good life, and we never got rich, but he worked crazy. And
But maybe what happened was he inspired you and you carried that on.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, I
Yeah.
no, exactly. I thought I shouldn't make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Like only work for this stupid. You have to work to make money, and that is,
Yeah.
by the way, that's the biggest misunderstanding in this world, that everybody is working. I know so many people who say, "Oh, I only have to go still 11 years, and then finally I'm." So that means that work is horror.
Right.
Everybody's it's terrible. Why do
Yeah.
everybody? You know, I never. The downside is I don't have a pension because I never had a job. I'm always work for myself. I do this and that,
Right.
1,000 things. So I don't have a pension. So I go on till I die. But why not?
Yeah. No, that's the great Richard Berry wrote the song Louie Louie, you know, which Zappa played 20 times over his 60 albums. And Richard
Yeah.
Berry said, "I can't even spell job."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So did your parents raise you a particular religion?
Yes. My parents raised me particularly anti-religious, which is also religious.
Wow. And so did you ever pick up any type of religious practice yourself or pursue it at all?
No, I am very interested in all religions, and just, you know, funny thing, I know people don't read books anymore, but I know a lot of people who do read books, and none of them read the Bible, or hey, I'm not going to read the Bible. None of them read the the Quran.
Torah. Yeah, Quran.
And
Yeah.
the Quran. And I think
Yeah.
that's great. if you're interested in literature, which I am, I read everything. You know, I read the writers from now, but I also read Tolstoy. Why don't you read the biggest bestseller ever?
Right.
It's fucking interesting, and the Bible is a very interesting book, but it has for me nothing to do with religion. But it's an interesting book, and I also read the Quran, and that is another book.
So if God does exist, what do you want God to tell you after you die?
What do I God tell after I die?
Yeah, what do you want God to tell you? What would you like God to say to you after you die, if God does exist?
I hope he will say, you cannot see your past. Okay, well, you go there to the right and then to the left, and there are the musicians.
That is good. You'll love this one. My friend said about Zappa, he said he goes to heaven and he knocks on Edgar Varèse's door. And he says, hey, I can finally meet my hero. And then Edgar Varèse basically could say three things. Hey, you did a good job. I like your music. Hey, you ripped me off. Pretty good. Or like, get away from me. You ripped me off. So, Menno, one more question on, do you pray?
Yeah, we all do, but not to God. But
I
think we all do. And I am, that's funny that you ask, because I just told you I never had a job. I do things, you know, and you can't imagine the house I'm now living in since 6 months. It is my wife. She saw a little house, you know, in the field. There is not even a road going to this house, and we were able to buy it, and we rebuilt it, and it is. When I'm looking out now, I see only field and forest, no neighbors, nothing. And we daily say to each other, first of all, why is this? Why do we deserve this? And I always say, I really would like to say thank you to something or somebody, but I don't know to who. But I have that need. But I don't believe in God. I believe in us.
Yeah.
So
no, that was good.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, that was good, because when you said we all pray, I think that's very interesting, because it is a verb that people do, but you don't necessarily have to pray to God. You pray to gratitude or whatever. So the next question is, do evil people exist, or does evil use people as a vehicle?
No. I don't think that evil people exist, and I don't think that evil is using people as I think that people have, what I said before, it's chemistry. I have, you know, I had my bad, let's say bad periods that you know, that you're not so happy. And I found out that is really just chemistry.
Yeah.
And for instance, my friend Cole, I know him 40 years. I never ever have seen him moody. He's not, you know, when we were in Poland, and when we woke up the next morning and we found about 18 of these half-liter bottles vodka empty, and I really only wanted to die. Can somebody shoot me? And go even then, you know. But I think that it's chemistry, and I think that people who are evil, they are not evil. There's something wrong in their household.
Yeah, and so this is a follow-up. how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy? I'll just set it up with a few modern thinkers' thoughts. Alan Watts says, if you acknowledge your enemy, you empower them. Coppola stole from the mob and the samurais. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. JFK says, forgive your enemy, but don't forget their name. And Fellini says, I need an enemy. So the question is, Menno, how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy? But first, how would you directly respond to the Alan Watts? If you acknowledge your enemy, you empower them.
No, I don't agree with that. I would immediately acknowledge them, and I would approach them, and I think that's the best thing to do. And because then there's a way to find out what's going on. You know, if you keep distance, then things were only getting worse, and then the only thing you can do is shoot rockets to each other if you don't approach. And if you have something that, but I have a fantastic example. I had, because I'm so curious. I was in a Reiki course to practice Reiki. Reiki, is that something you know with putting your hands over somebody? And I'm absolutely not a kind of person to do that, because I'm not talented with my hands. I don't have healing hands. But I wanted to be in a course that was 2 days, because I was so curious about these people. And the man who was doing this course, he was, before he had a supermarket 15 years ago, and then one day he found out, what am I doing? I'm going to do Reiki, and I'm going. And he was, everything that he said was about love. And you have to close and come here, and it's love. And I give love, you give love back. And he told us the example in an evening. The first evening we were sitting and talking anecdotes, and he said, I was in the car, and somebody was chasing me with the car, and it was really becoming an incident, because this other guy, he thought that I did something stupid with my car, and he pulled over on a parking place, and the other guy also pulled over on the parking place, and he came out of his car and he said, open up, and you idiot, and can't you almost killed me. And then this Reiki master, this guru, he got out of his car and he said, I'm so happy that you are sharing this with me. And can I hug you?
Oh, wow.
And then the other guy, he did bang.
That's not funny, but it was a beautiful gesture. Then what happened? That was it.
Yeah, he said. So we all thought at the Reiki course, we thought, here's the big Gandhi story. He said, I'm happy that you join he said that you share your feelings with me, something like that, and let me hug you, because you are so open, you're sharing your feelings. And then the man said, so, and that is reality. So if I have a problem with somebody, I approach him and I try to get as close as possible and say, what's happening? And I think that's what you should do.
That's good resolution suggestion. James Joyce was the first projectionist in Dublin over 100 years ago. He had a cinema, and then he checked out. He said, this is stupid. Why should I go inside a building and see a movie of a tree when I can go outside and see a real tree? Years later, William Faulkner said, sometimes the best fiction is more true than journalism. Why do we have to recreate things in order to get them? Why do we have to go to a theatrical play of people acting out life? Why don't we just live life?
Yes. No, no, he's right. He's absolutely right. But it doesn't mean that you can't create it, because you can create fiction, but you can create reality. And I think a good example is I wrote a book, a novel about something that happened in the war. and it is, if it would be fiction, then it would be a terrible book, because it's so bizarre and and unbelievable what is happening, that everybody would say, hey, come on, what are you doing here? But it's not fiction, it really happened, and because it really happened, it fits very good, it's very natural. And but what I wanted to say is, because this is so bizarre, and if you then put it in a movie or in a book, then you show something to people that they wouldn't see in another way. By the way, what a stupid thing to say about that tree, because if I make a movie about the tree in Mozambique, then this guy who said that clever thing about I can see the tree in real, then he had to go to Mozambique. So we should be happy that somebody made a movie of that tree.
That's good. Very well put. So walk us through your life in just briefly, and how you started being a creator. So you're a writer and a musician mainly, and I know you also try to invent things. But let's stay on music and writing. At what point in your life did you go, oh, I can do that? Like, are you reading a lot as a kid, listening to music? And where did you go, oh, I can do that? And then when did you start doing it? Like grade school, high school, college, both in writing and music?
No, I think already when I was 10, I had the luck that that my mother, she forced me to go to take piano lessons, which was horror. Really, it was terrible, because my friends were playing football in the street, when I was 8, and I had to go to the neighbors, an old lady, like she was hanging over my shoulders and putting my little fingers on the keys of the piano. It was terrible, and I am for nothing more grateful to my mother than this, that she forced me to do that, because when I was 10, I could play more or less a little bit piano. And here is again this what I said about memorizing things, that I immediately started to copy things that I heard on the piano. And then all of a sudden, and this is actually amazing, then all of a sudden I copied something that I later found out that didn't exist. So that is actually created. But that is what I mean with your copying is actually taking something from your memory. And it's almost the same technique, that you say, I use the same tool, but now it's not from a memory, but it's from a different dish. And it also works. And then you say, hey, it's not a copy, but so where did it come from? I don't know, but it sounds good.
Yeah. But what are you hearing besides music your teacher's telling you? What are you hearing it on radio, vinyl, live, where you went off and started pursuing other music other than what your piano teacher was telling you?
Yeah.
How were you hearing it, and what had an impact going, oh, I want to do something like that?
My parents were playing only classical music, and there was so that's what I had at first. So it was just classical music, but then you had things like the Bolero from Raphael, which is almost a pop song, and I was intrigued by that, which was like well, we all know it is a pop song. Frank made a pop song out of it, and but it's that. No, but I had this lady. She kicked me out quite fast, because I didn't do what she told me to do. And there's a funny anecdote. I had this little music book with my first piano lessons, and I had to play that. And then she always played it first, and then I had to play it after her. And then I had to go home and study the whole week. So I came back next week, Saturday afternoon, and I put the book and I played the piece. And she said, "Brilliant, without a mistake, but your book is upside down." So, so now that is real true. It happened. And this is not for briding how brilliant I am, but this means that I'm not, let's say, very good in reading notes. I can read notes. Of course,
Yeah.
I write and I read notes, but not like somebody who can play à vue, Rachmaninoff or Liszt or whatever. But that means that from day one I was listening and copying, and then listening and copying, and then later listening to that other place where the creativity is coming from.
Yeah, that's good. The outside the box thing is good. We say new. You looked at things with a new eye and a new ear.
Exactly.
Yeah, really well put. And so, what did you do writing wise? Did your parents raise you to be a reader? And who was making an impact on you reading wise? And then when did you go, "Oh, I can write"?
My parents was, like I said, my father was was very much into poetry, but also in literature, and our house was only books, and we got books for children when we were young, but quite soon we got have books for, let's say, for a little bit more like for adults. And I was just very, very interested. And I wrote my first story when I was 12, and I still have it, and it's still good. It's very basic. It's about somebody who's very afraid of something to happen, and then finally it happens, and I'm now, if I read it now, I am surprised, and I don't recognize it as being for me, because I read it with great interest and said, what? Why is he writing that? And where does it go? And then I'm surprised because I just found it back after many, many years. So it's a technique. You have to creativity is I think it's not something, but it is something not. It is not a limitation. If you want to be creative, you have to skip all limits, all boundaries, everything. So it must be one big universe before you where you can pick everything. So it's not something, it's a lot of things, no limits. And some people use drugs for this, and I can imagine that. I understand that if you use drug that you lose your limits, but your limitations, but then other things happen that may be not good for your being producer.
Menno, you said it well. Samuel Beckett said that James Joyce's book Finnegan's Wake is not a description of a dream; it is a dream. So it's sort of like you're well versed in with words, and I appreciate it. A screenwriting teacher told me that a great film or great art is when you can clearly see the intention of the maker. And Stanley Kubrick says the opposite. Great film or great art, great book is when you can clearly not see the intention of the maker. What role does intention play in your creative process?
No. I think for music, I hope that everybody makes his own journey listening to it. And no, I don't absolutely not believe in intention. That sounds almost commercial. it's yeah,
Yeah.
you must make it with, actually you make something actually only for yourself, without any intentions, without, so it must be good, and you must be completely happy when it's ready, and then goes out and people listen to it, and everybody can have his own imagination with it. And I'm very flattered if people say, I listened to it and it sounded like a movie and I saw this and that and that, but it's
Yeah.
completely different from what I saw or what I wanted it to be.
Can art making or music making be egoless?
Um, yeah, think so.
Yeah.
Not, well, if you say making, I cannot make music without being me. So not,
Yeah.
but I mean the product that you make, I think should be egoless. Yeah.
Well put. So McLuhan says this thing about our inventions, like clothing is an extension of our skin. Knife and fork extend our teeth. The eyelid we extend with like a shutter in a camera. And then, like we invent philosophy and that extends consciousness. So what does the writing utensil extend for you? Like, whether it's keyboard or a pencil, what humanness is it extending?
Um, I think, yeah, I think something like something similar, like dreams. It's in the
Dreams.
same
Yeah.
dreams. It's in the same compartment in your head as dreams.
Yeah.
It is like what people do nowadays is go to Netflix. That is, yeah, that is in the same area. You go somewhere to be away from this world for a moment.
Yeah.
To skip to leave this whole cruel world for a moment behind you, and to
Yeah.
escape from this world. And then you go into an area and that's the same area where you are when you're dreaming, I think, but also when you're fantasizing, when I can fantasize. When I can sleep, I'm in bed. I don't dream, but I try I experience complete movies, just to, and then you are in this area in your brains where this happens.
Yeah.
And that is where I think good music and good books and everything will have to arrive to be appealed to.
It's well put. You really summarized what McLuhan said about James Joyce's book, Finnegan's Wake, is that we all have this scenario go on in our mind or being at night. We have dreams and we can create these amazing dreams in the middle of the night. But artists also use that creative power to dream while they're awake.
Exactly.
So it's called dreaming awake. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Well, that's yeah. Well, okay. So
And
I
then,
was quite close.
yeah, very, very well put. And
Okay.
in this
So-
Jean Cocteau, go ahead.
So what is the score? How am I doing?
Dude, you're like you're kicking butt, man. You're top notch. You get it all. No, I always say there are no right or wrong answers,
Of course.
but that one you got right. But with you don't even get them right. You take them one step beyond. That's really what I'm striving for in these. I understand people feeling comfortable with saying who they are, but it's almost like you're talking almost like who Menno isn't. Like you're talking this void. Actually, Jean Cocteau says this well about the dream theme we're talking about here for a second. it's a filmmaker's privilege to be able to allow a large number of people to dream the same dreaming together and to show us, moreover, the optical illusions of unreality with the rigor of realism.
That is fantastic. Yeah,
Isn't that amazing? Because, you know, it's both. Yeah, it's both.
That.
But
Yeah.
I learned yesterday from my friend that humans, when they started managing fire and started, you know, learning how to control fire, start it and control it, they moved from sleeping in the trees to sleeping on the ground because they were trying to stay away from animals eating them. So then they could sleep on the ground, and they got a better night's sleep on the ground, you know, next to the fire, and they dreamt better. And when you can dream better, you can think better. That actually these, you know, anthropologists or neuroscientists he was reading was saying we learned to think better from dreaming better, and then we dreamed that you can reincarnate. You know, we dreamt that up. It's so it's like endless. It's like endless what we can dream. You know, there's no limits on dreaming. Like, oh, you can't dream that.
Dreaming is and dreaming is. I always my whole life I said to everybody who wanted to hear, dreaming is the most incredible thing, and it's big present. I dream, you know, I dream like as if I have a very good guy making, let's say, for instance, it is of course usual that if you dream that the dream goes that you are the most important person. It's all about you. But I also dream sometimes, and that is to me really a puzzle, that I am like Hitchcock. I don't have any role in the dream, and I only once I step on the sidewalk, I pass, and for the rest, the whole dream is about other people. How is that possible? Who's directing that?
That's good. That is perfect. Yeah. So, Menno, what was the motive of the cave artist? You know, not what Herzog said in his documentary or anthropologists, just your hunch. What do you think the motive of the cave artist was?
That is a very good question. Very interesting question. But on the other hand, what other motive would he have than Van Gogh had?
Right.
I think that he there's no motive. I know. No, I know why he did it.
That is great.
I know why he did it. I have I know a man in Paris. He must now be almost 100 years old, and he found out that there is an archetype. There are archetypes in people. Of course, we know that. You know, we're all afraid of spiders and things like that. But he found out that children all make the same drawings. And he went through the whole world and he gave children a piece of paper and a pencil and said, draw a person, draw a house, and draw the sun. And a house is always, you know how a child draws a house. And a kid is always one circle with legs and eyes in the circle without not a head and a body, but one. There will be a name in English also for. And he found out that is an archetype and even he went to Eskimos, he went to Africa, he went to everywhere, and children from 2-3 years old, they got the same pencil and say draw a person, and they all draw the person in the same way. And this is what the cave artists also did. They just did that because that is what they can do. What's
Yeah.
in there.
You know, McLuhan's one of his favorite lines is the Balinese have no word for art. They do everything as well as they can. So that's really, I mean, you know that the answers I get there for 30 years are, oh, to entertain themselves, to mark their space, who they are, for religious persons, magical, to say if I put a picture of a piece of an animal on the wall, then I'll evoke it and be able to catch. I mean, there's a million theories, but to say there was no motive is so beautiful.
I can say
Yeah.
it more simple. I can say it even simpler. And our mutual good friend, Frank Zappa,
Yeah.
he had I have a business card. I have it somewhere here. One of his companies, and that company was named Why Not?
Yeah.
and yeah, and that's it. And Co and I, we do from time to time. We 10 years ago we made a horrible movie, and everybody who looks at the movie starts to cry. It's very depressing, and it's and everybody's saying, "Why did you do that?" And we say, "Why not?" Because the other thing, yeah, not because of Zappa said it, but because the other thing you can do is sit down and watch television, or eat a sandwich with peanut butter. So this is what we do, and this is what the cave artists also did. They say, "Hey, what are you painting there? This deers and this." And this guy said, "Hey, why not?" I do that
really good.
I
Yeah, really good. I love that. So I spoke with Michael Apted, who made a lot of good films 30 years ago, and I said, why do rock video editors feel so obliged to edit fast? And this was right when MTV was coming out, and there was a lot of fast, rapid montage, fast editing pace. And Marty Scorsese said, yeah, I cut my films faster because of MTV. And Michael Apted said, well, because we've learned to take in information faster. Can we, and I ask this with a bias, can humans actually learn to take information in faster, or are we just brainwashed to believe we can?
No, I'm afraid we can. I'm afraid we can. And I don't think, I'm not sure if that is a good development, because it hurts, it must hurt another part of our head inside, our brain. It must.
That's good. It hurts. Yeah, it hurts another part of our brain is good.
Yes, but I see my nephews, they are, let's say, 10 years old. You know it. Everybody knows it. They get a smartphone and they do, and they have hundreds of thousands of things, and they can learn with smartphones and electronics 10 times faster than we do. They get it. So this is. I see that this is happening, but I don't think it's not because I'm an old guy, but I think it will hurt another part of our brain.
So I love how you put that in, but is it literally possible for humans to multitask?
Yeah. I do that.
Yeah.
Although I'm not a woman, I do that.
Yeah.
And I hate people who say that you. I also hate people who say you not hate, but I hear very often people say you have to do one thing. You have to focus on one thing. I think that's nonsense. I can do 10 different things, and I try. If at Sunday I had friends for dinner. I'm cooking for them. Then I'm a cook. And I'm a good cook. So it's not that you have to focus. So you want to be a musician, or you want to be a writer, or you want to be inventor. No, I do, and I can do when I work at day. I'm I'm corresponding with people, and then a lot of other things happen. I also have a wife with horses, so she's making signs to me. I have this, and then I can multitask.
Yeah. So I like you brought up the word hate, because I use that too. I go, oh, I hate the Beatles, or I hate the Beach Boys. And I go, well, I don't hate them. It's a powerful word, but we throw it off to say our cultural preferences. And my question is hating culturally learned, or is it innate in humans to hate?
It is no, I think that is maybe not even cultural, but has to do with your education, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that especially my mother told us that we shouldn't hate, and you also see in some cultures where people are very, very fast, let's say, fighting with each other or with others. And now I think that has to do with your education. Yeah.
What's more important? I know it depends and it's both, but what's more important for you, Menno? Conviction or compromise?
Compromise.
You've accomplished. Yeah,
I'm
go
Jewish.
ahead. It's a beautiful answer. I love it. And you've accomplished a lot in your life. How do you rate these three elements? Luck, skill, and ambition. What played the biggest role, second and third?
Wow, that's very difficult because I feel quite lucky, but I think that skill is well, it's difficult to say about yourself, because without making yourself bigger than you are. But I think, do you know the expression noblesse oblige? It means that if you have a certain skill, then you are committing almost a crime if you don't do anything with it. And that is a very strong feeling that I have, that I always had, that I know, I when I started making music, when I played in a band, I found out that I was I was good at making songs, writing songs, and also writing books. I wrote several books, and I think that it's really a crime if you have abilities to do it, and if you don't do anything with it. And I mean it's really hurting also a little. I still have it today. That so it's really not ambition. It is obligation. That is more it. If you can, you have to. Otherwise, you are an idiot. That is the idea that I have. And although I work 24/7, I still always think that I'm lazy. Why what did I do the last half hour? And why didn't I? So there has to be done so much. Still so much to do.
Yeah, that work ethic thing is difficult too, because I ask most people, where'd you get your work ethic? Like, that's what you're talking about. Oh, I'm being lazy. Where do you think you got your work ethic from?
Well, that's also education, but I have it from my feel of obligation to do it, not to die and forgot to do all that I have to do and that I can do. I still know there's so much music out there that I have
Yeah.
to to get down and to put on in an instrument. I'm working at this moment with a little with a lady singer and writing songs and it's working again. I see it's still there. So then I think it has to be done. It's not because it's an obligation.
Well, let's stay on music for a second. My friend says the three T's in music are technique, theory, and taste. So you can learn the theory, your piano teacher taught you what you're doing, the G key or, whatever notes you're hitting. And then technique is learning how to do these things. Theory is what you're doing. And then taste. How does one acquire taste?
How do you acquire taste?
Yeah, like technique and theory you can learn from your piano teacher. You can learn from study. But how does one acquire taste in music?
I think that is your character, your soul, your right.
Yeah, that's good.
And by the way, I think that is by far the most important part in music. But I think that the first two you will have to have that, because I don't like people. The whatever you do, there must be what do you say in English? Craftsmanship.
Yeah.
It has to be professional. It has to be good. Like this terrible movie that Conan made, that everybody cried and got depressed when they saw it. But it was good, Everything from the beginning to the end, everything was correct. It was very good, but it was a horrible movie. But so that is, and also if you make music that has no melody like modern music, you must be able to to compose symphony. If you do that, if you want to do that, because you have people who only do that, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like Picasso. He was a fantastic painter of landscapes and of people, and he was a fantastic painter. And then you're allowed to do what he did, but not if you only can work with three colors on a sheet.
McLuhan also said song is slowed down speech. The reason cultures have different musical taste is ultimately connected to language difference. Any comment?
Yeah, I think that's true. I know that a friend of mine moved to to Thailand, and he was a partner in our studio. We had a recording studio, and he was partner in the studio. So he knows very much about music and about technique behind it. And he did a study about the language over there, because you can use the same word in 5 different ways by singing a different melody and that's how this language is built. And so I think that language really has an influence on the music. I can imagine that.
What's more fundamental, language or music?
Yeah. I have to say, I have to answer music.
Yeah.
Although during the day I have more fun with language, and I have, language is so. I have you you know you must know Susan Rubio.
Yes.
Yes, well, Susan was more or less a good friend of ours, and we 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 had the this is fun about language. We had uh, a game when we visited each other. She's working in language. I think she's working in a publishing company or so. So she's all day working with language, and she's very talented in languages. And we found this. It's like a game that we were speaking English with each other in like we spoke Dutch with, and we translated every word in English. So in English you say I am hungry. In Dutch you say I have hunger. So and that is we taught her to speak Dutch with English words. that is
Oh,
that
that's
is
good. Yeah.
that is so incredibly funny. And what if you say in English, you say, "What are you doing?" In Dutch, we say, "What sit you to do?" So,
Yeah.
and we were sitting there with Susan, and no, that is so. If you say what's giving more fun, I have a lot of fun with language also here, and
Yeah.
I've
No,
also
more,
this I've also this problem, and that is really a disorder that I have. That I have to make jokes all the time. Also, when I'm not speaking with people like you, but when when I'm stopped by the police, when I'm speeding or whatever, I have to make jokes, and that is not because I want it, but that is some disorder, and that is very often jokes in language.
hey, I think jokes are amazing. And it's laughter is a key to life, I think. So T.S. Eliot, let's stay on language for a second. T.S. Eliot is the poet who said that poetry is outing your inner dialogue. So inside your head, there's a voice. Inside your soul or spirit, there's a voice. What language is your inner dialogue in?
Uh, what language? That's in Dutch. And
But what form is your inner consciousness in?
it's very often in. I don't know if that is possible, but this question is a difficult question. It's very often in music, and
Yeah.
but that is weird because you can't have thoughts in music. But I have very often that there is only music in my head and no thoughts, and this is what
No, that's
I
good. Yeah.
know.
No, I get that answer a lot. Music's a great answer. It's clear, but there's one more. Just a trick question is tell me an instrumental music piece that makes you laugh. Because you were talking about joking, and jokes are usually based on language or involve language. So, is there an instrumental music piece that makes you laugh?
Yeah. There is. But now I'm not going to mention all the fantastic and really funny Zappa things because I know there are a lot of them. But there is, you can laugh like a joke, but you can also laugh as a biological reaction, like you can cry, and I
Yeah.
have that. With some pieces. Yeah, now I'm really an old guy. Some pieces of Bach.
Gotcha.
That when I hear that, Bach. He has he's making incredible and really amazing compositions. He actually, for me, Bach, he invented the music as it is today, and all harmonies and everything. And then he does things. You know, basically in music, you start here and then you make a tour and then you end here again. That is how a song works. You go and then and you end end where you start. But
Yeah.
Bach is going like this, and then he's going there, and then I think, oh my God, how are you coming home now? And then he's going there, and then he's going there, and then he's going, and you never go home. And then he is finally going home, and he started in D minor, and then he comes home, and you think, wow. And finally he comes back to the D, and then it's not a minor, but it's a major, like ta-da. And then I really have to. I applaud when I'm in my car and I listen to that. I applaud, and that makes me laugh.
That was a good answer. Menno, tell me one major element of your creative energies that changed in your decades of making, and one major element that's stayed the same. Just overall in writing and music, your creative output. One major element same, one major element that changed.
When I was younger, I just let it happen. I just let it happen, and now I'm really grateful that I found a way that it's almost like work, but I still can do it. I can.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I invented how I can get to this creative spot.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, when I was 25, it just happened, and I didn't know when or why, and it happened. But now, when I got older, and it's mainly for writing, I can sit down and put myself to it. And also, when I feel today's not going to work, I can sit down and I can open that little gate, and then it works. And that is what I learned. But,
that was good.
Yeah, but the what stayed the same is, I think, the message.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
What I think about it, about everything.
Well, that was good. Let's see. Moshe Feldenkrais works with healing and movement. He says it's literally possible to identify a weakness and incorporate it to become a strength, rather than we're normally taught to overcome a weakness. Tell me a weakness that you have incorporated to become a strength.
A weakness. Yeah, well, I am. I don't know. It's maybe maybe that I am quite sensible for for addictions like drugs, like alcohol. And when you're young, you can. By the way, I never did drugs really. We took a joint once in a while. But like I said, we when we were pop musicians and the vodka on the road, and I found out that this is a risk for me, and that is actually a weak point. And so one day I found out that I felt better when I just don't do that at all and don't take that risk. So I think that's really a weak point of me, which I didn't give any room to do any damage to me. And this made me very, very strong to see that I could not get into that, let's say, into that trap. That
Trap. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was well put. Thank you. So anger can be a productive emotion when fill in the blank.
Anger.
Yeah.
When you want to when you want to shoot somebody, I think. No, yeah. Anger can be a productive emotion if you if I have a real problem, then and people make me angry, then I don't go out of the way. I go immediately into it. And even, let's say, I'm still alive, but even if there are, let's say, 3 guys twice as big as me, and something is really making me angry, then I can do 2 things. I can run away, or I can go to them and approach them. And I will do the last. I will approach them, and driven by anger. And the fact that I'm still here proves that it works. You know the
Yeah.
lady who can lift a truck when her
Oh,
baby
yeah.
is under. Yeah. So
Yep.
when I'm really angry, the what is it? The Hulk? You wouldn't like me when I'm angry?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's
Good. That's good. What's the most significant difference between women and men, physical aside?
that I wrote 3 books about that, and
Really?
so I would say read my books. No, I am married to a horse lady. She's horses, and as soon as if this happens in your life, then let's say a big part of your life is over. And because you have the lady, you have the horse and the other horse, and then very long road, nothing, and then the dog, then very much nothing, and then me. So, and I'm really as soon as the horse is in the picture, I'm really nobody. In real life, I am somebody, but when the horse is in picture, I am really nobody. And the funny thing is that everybody who has horses recognizes these stories. So this is what I write about. No, I think that we can be very, very happy that there is a big difference between ladies and men, between men and women. I think that women they're totally, completely different in everything. Really, in everything. And I think that is fantastic. My wife and I, we are completely different in all aspects. And that's maybe the reason why we still having so much fun together and we're living together. But we are really 100% different. But your question was what?
Well, no, you covered it. What's the length? How many years have you been together?
30.
Oh, congratulations.
And my cousin says, because we don't have children, and my cousin says that, Menno, you don't have children and you're still 30 years, you really must love each other, because normally you, after the children are grown up, you divorce.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay together for the children. Why are you still married? You really must love each other.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. 30 years, you should be proud. It's a long term. So how do you find peace of mind?
Well, I don't. When I'm looking forward to find peace of mind, but I think, and I don't look forward to die, but I think that after your life is finished, that you will have peace, and I think this will happen anyway. So I will have this peace. And so I don't need it tomorrow. It can be after that. So I just, but to be honest, I could have some more peace of mind, and that is just how you are built. It's not for me.
If you were walking down the street today and you met yourself as a 12-year-old, what would you say to your 12-year-old self?
Um, I would say enjoy what you have. This is something you maybe not believe. You think I'm making it up, but when I was 12. This is really true. When I was 12, I remember when I was 12, I was sitting in my little room in my desk, and I got an electronic box for my anniversary, for my birthday, with electronics, and you could make little circuits and make lamps, and I was doing this, and I heard my family downstairs, and my father and mother talk to each other, and my brother and sister making fun, and I was working there. And then I said to myself, you have to remember this moment, because this is good. You have to remember this moment. I think that's very weird, because who thinks something like that on a moment? You have to remember this moment. This was when I was 12, and I very much later, when I was about 40, I made notes, and I wrote that down, and I said that I didn't have a moment like that since then. I'm not unhappy. I'm very happy, but I don't have the former question. I don't have peace of mind.
Yeah.
I am too stressed and too much to do, and there has too much be done before everything ends. And when I was 12, I was completely happy. It was one single moment I was completely happy. So if I would meet him now, I would say, enjoy it, boy.
Right. That's good.
It's only getting worse. So enjoy it.
If a statue was built in your honor, where would you want it displayed, and what would it be made of?
Where I want it to be displayed?
Yeah, where do you want the statue to be presented?
Maybe in I don't know. I would say just to let's say in the village I'm living now, because that would be the most horrible thing to do, because it's a very almost Amish village where I live. It's a very, very small, very religious, Orthodox religious village, and they know me as the inventor, but they all think I'm a little weird. Also because I have no children, something must be wrong with you. And then when I make a statue here for me, and then in marble, of course.
Marble, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have a few more, Menno. This has been really fun. That is really good. I got a few more. If you were in a vat of vomit up to your neck and someone threw a bag of shit at your face, what would you do?
I would be incredibly happy to know that I was dreaming.
Never had that answer. That is good. Tell me something good you never had and you never want.
Something good that I never want?
You never had it, but you never want it. It's good. You never had it, but you never want it.
Oh. Children.
I get that answer. That's a very legit answer. They're good, never had it, never wanted. Okay, these are 5 Alan Watts questions, just briefly, like in 2 to 5 words. Just keep it short. Who started it all?
um, I don't know the names. I read in the Bible. That there has been creatures, giants. So I think before Adam and Eve,
They started it.
Yeah, they started it. That must be because they were creatures. It's in the Bible. So
yeah, that's good.
Not Adam and Eve, because of course and we know the world is much older than Adam and Eve. So
yeah,
there must be. So I think it's them.
Are we going to make it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do we put it?
Where do we put it? I think on a memory stick.
Oh, nice. Who's cleaning it up?
The same little animals that are causing corona.
Nice. And is it serious?
Absolutely.
All right. So I got a couple more, and then we'll bring Clinton on. This one is great artist Joseph Boyce says, make the secrets productive. Lou Welsh, beat poet, says, guard the secrets, constantly reveal them. Thornton Wilder, 1928, summarized, art is confession. Art is the secret told. But art is not only the desire to tell one's secret, it's the desire to tell it and hide it at the same time.
Oh,
so you've laid your cards on the table for 90 minutes. You're very articulate. I appreciate it. Been really enlightened. Some of your answers were mind-blowing. Never had these before. I'm not insinuating you haven't said this, but Menno, what is it really all about for you?
It's that is, we're talking about art and the spirit and the unconsciousness, the collective unconsciousness. But yeah. Unfortunately, I found out that the most important thing, and that's very banal to say, is what I said in the beginning, is love. I found out that what is driving us is almost love or caring, and that is also maybe a biological thing. I saw this morning. I saw, it's spring. I saw birds, and there was a bird, and there was these little birds were falling out of the nest, and this mother was completely in panic, and organizing and trying to get other birds away. And this is what is driving us. And we can tell all kind of beautiful stories about writing books, making music, but in the end, this is what is driving us. Is what we, together with somebody, the people we care, mostly family, or that's if we care, that is very often our motivation. But that's very banal. But I think that's what it is.
It's not banal at all. This guy, David O'Reilly, he made one of the most successful video games ever. It's just a mountain. And I saw him speak once, and he goes, forget storytelling. It's all empathy. He says basically it's all about feeling, but it's not. So Clinton, we'll bring you on. It was really a pleasure having you. Menno, this has been amazing. Clinton, what do you got there?
Yeah, no, fantastic. And so I'm gonna ask some questions that I think you can handle, which is just fantastic. I'm like, so the first one I got is the world divided into many different domains or many different places, or is there transition between everywhere you go and everything that you are doing from time to time? I guess another way of asking the question is, are you always you, or are you a new person every day in every situation and place?
No, I am. Yes, I'm very often a different person, but they're all in me. I do very much different things. Like I just said, my wife is a horse, has horses. So I also, for a part, I'm a farmer, and I work with farmers here, to fertilize the field and everything. Next, I'm in the studio with people recording things, or talk to the publisher, or in the invention part, I speak to surgeons, and it's all a different language. It's not only a different language, it's a totally different state of mind, and it's all me, but it's all one doesn't recognize the other, almost.
So is it like a costume change? Do you have a system? Do you have a system, or is it brought out of you on the fly?
No, it's all in me. It's all in me. It's even the like I said, even the language is different. It's I don't think it's a costume change, because that is something that is artificial. But it's all parts of me. It's and it's from very 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 rare. It's conflicts that when I meet, let's say when I'm on the field and I would have a visitor. No, when I have a visitor at home for the instruments, the surgeon, then the farmer runs in and says, "Hey, we have to." Then I have some some here, and oh, sorry, and I go with you for a second, please wait, and then I go out, and then I go into the farmer thing, and then I go back into the surgical instrument thing.
Awesome.
Maybe I'm just schizophrenic, or what do you call it? Multi-person
personality. I can relate, so maybe I am too.
Yeah, this is what you have to do. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You were talking about how you have fun with music, and sometimes you even have more fun with words. So just because it seems you've thought about them a lot, both music and words bring people together. Especially music is famous. It's an important part of mass or communion or worship and religion, or then just concerts. And there's this whole idea that we can come together, and get empathy through sharing in music. But is there a difference between people come together or understand each other through words and in music? How are they the same, or how are they different?
Well, no, that is also a funny thing, because music and word is so incredibly different that because music is like let's say like a very good wine. You can have that glass of wine every evening, and you can have this song, this piece of music, you can listen to it incredibly much every evening. But this book, if you read it 10 times, then you know about it. So I think that is something totally different, really totally different. So yeah, and it's a shame that with written things, I have a lot of books in my home, but my wife and me, we always say, why actually do we have all these books? We read it once. I hardly ever read a book twice, because there are so many other books that I want to read. But music, you listen to music all the time, the same music. So no, it's totally different.
That's interesting. It makes me think, Gerry, just because you are such a Joyce fan, and so you'll be reading Finnegan's Wake one book over and over again and always get something new. But wouldn't you say Finnegan's Wake is a very musical book?
Oh yeah, it's turning your eye experience into an ear So it's flipping it, and it is. We've talked about this a lot because Joyce said, "My book is music."
Mhm.
He doesn't really. It's disguised as a book, but it's really because it's like a choral or like knows or Menno knows you read poetry out loud. You can read it by yourself, but
Yeah.
poetry is much the reading of it out loud. So
Yeah.
it's an ear experience. And so it's merging the two. But
True.
music is it can be instrumental and it can be repeated, but there is, you know, um, this repeatability in music, like Menno said, is amazing. Like there's, yeah, I tell you better, as Walter Pater said, all arts aspire to the condition of music. So literature wishes it could be as cool as music. Painting wishes it could be as cool as music. Because music, you like he said, you can play the same track over and over and get re-inspired or dance to it. And you can reread a book or you can re-see a painting. But there's something magical about music, you know.
But I agree that poetry is something in between, let's say, literature and music,
And
because
yeah,
poetry you can repeatedly read, and it's poetry for me works like almost like music. You can
yeah.
take that to you. I can no
You know,
that's interesting. Also,
yeah,
what you
Gary Snyder, the beat poet, he's sort of like a nature beat poet who's still living. He says, "My task as a poet entails the work of seeing the world without language, then putting that seeing into language."
yeah.
So, I mean, Menno, one of the most important things you said to me today was, what role does the intention play in your creative process? And you go, no motive. we think we have to have a motive, and you brought it
No,
because I collect children's art. I find it in children's art. They're not like
exactly.
making it so their parents will put it on the refrigerator or someone will like it. They just make art. They're driven to make it, you know.
There's no motive. There's
Yeah.
only why not do it.
Yeah, why not? It's like you, Clinton. Why do you make all these uh programs and codes and your computer? Because why not? you know, you're
No,
not
that's true.
you're not like he's not like I gotta make a living here. You're
Yeah.
just driven.
Sure, I'm not.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll close out with these two. Menno, this has been amazing. And Clinton, those were some of your best ever. The amazing thing is Clinton listens. I mean, he listens and he knows how to pull out. When
Yeah.
I do these in public, then I have a whole audience and they can add a few at the end. But the
Yeah.
beauty is once I started doing them just one-on-one, there wasn't another voice to pull out of what you said. So he pulls out of what you said. Some
Yeah.
amazing thing is
I
the
try,
world.
and mhm.
Yeah, no, you do good. Is the world divided or are you in transition? It's like, are you a costume? Are you a costume changer or are you a systems person? That was great question.
Oh, thank
So, Menno, what most impactful or cultural shift you see developing today?
what
Like
what again?
what's the most impactful or healthiest cultural shift you see developing today?
Uh, um, the healthiest shift?
It doesn't mean in food, but
No, no,
just
no,
in
no.
general. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I see that after uh, I see that after this Corona lockdown,
Yeah.
I get in contact with many people that are. It's like if we had a terrible war or so, which we didn't have because actually nothing happened. But people realize um, that we have to do something with our lives, and I mean in culture,
Yeah.
in my let's say in music. We are also with my book, the novel that I wrote. I have a little group of people who are interested to think of, let's say, the play with the idea of making a movie or a series out
Yeah.
of it, and everybody is so enthusiastic. And I have the idea that the feeling that because of what happened, that people think, hey, it is not so logical, not so natural that everything just goes on. Everything can collapse. Everything can end. Maybe even there comes another virus and that everybody dies within 2 weeks. So let's do what I have already my whole life. This urge to do something,
Yeah.
to get some output. I see that from other people also. Let's do it. So I
Yeah.
see that people are motivated to do things, and that is,
Yeah.
I think that is good. I like that.
Yes. It's well put. Yeah. It's sort of a forced change. It's like all along, people go, I love the lockdown. I get to know my family. I goes, you could have got to know your family before, but a forced change sometimes shakes
Yes.
people out of their somnambulous state, you know.
Yeah.
And then last question, Menno, this has been truly enlightening, really fun. What gives you the most optimism?
Um, Good question. Um, yeah. Well, it's actually the same. Well, you're not waiting for the same answer, but it's actually the same. That I see that people are willing to out there picking up the anyway, the people I'm talking to are picking up the good things after this crisis. It really was a
Yeah.
crisis, and I
Yeah.
see that people like after war, they are much more together, and let's half of the people maybe don't are still egoist and making money, and we go again and get in the plane to holidays and this. But I see that the people, my let's say my scene, in my scene, I see that people are much more motivated to to do things without being paid for it, just
Yeah.
because it can, because you can.
Yeah.
Let's build something together. Let's also have many, not only in culture, but also in the invention business, that people say, I have friends who have ideas, and when you start that, it will never bring a penny, you will never make any money, but it's fun to build it and to see if it works, and then to celebrate if it works, just
Yeah.
to make something, to create.
Yeah.
People more than before this crisis, I see that people want to create something, and this is
Yeah.
what we have to stimulate.
Yeah. Well, you've stimulated us, and you surely you surely are articulate at talking about the creative process. So thank you so much, Menno. That was really fun.
And thank
And
you.
thank you, Clinton.
Oh,
And
My-
thank you both very, very much. And I think this is like not only an interview; it's like an healing process. It's like what Freud did. You're laid down and get all these terrible questions, and you are digging up all the dirt from your head. And where did I hide that? That was coming from there. And this is coming from there. That's what you do. It's fantastic. No, really, Gerry, is really fantastic what you do. It's amazing. It's
Oh,
it's never, it doesn't exist what you do. I think it's fantastic. I really
And trust
love
me,
it.
it's talk therapy for the audience too. I can say.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. I really
But
love it. Thank
yeah,
you
I
very
appreciate
much.
that. You can both write that up for my press kit. I'll use them in my press kit.
You got it.
We will do that.
Bye, guys.
We're